Alright everybody, this is just going to be a quick and dirty video because I just saw this pop up in my feed and I'm just fucking face palming. This is so dumb. This is a little hyperbolic, but it's not fundamentally incorrect. Libertarian, the ACLU is downgrading free speech. Yeah, well. Alright, I'll just read this first bit here. A leaked internal memo proposes requiring the American Civil Liberties Union to carefully, quotes, weigh protecting the First Amendment against its commitments to social justice, stop putting fucking qualifiers on justice, racial equality, and women's rights, giving what it sees as potential conflicts that may, quote, create tensions, end quote, and that says reasons Robbie Sove? Oh, Sove. Is nothing more than, quote, a cowardly retreat from a full-throated defense of the First Amendment, end quote. As former board member Wendy Kaminer noted in disclosing the memo to the Wall Street Journal, these guidelines reflect a demotion of free speech in the ACLU's hierarchy of values, end quote. What's clear, says Sove, is that the ACLU feels it needs to, quote, remain in good standing with its progressive allies, end quote. Problem is, quote, young progressives are increasingly hostile to free speech. End quote. So what happened here is that the ACLU made an absolute butt-fuck ton of money. Stupid amount of fucking money. After Trump signed his executive order, God, that was a year ago now, where he just halted his travel ban. When he signed that in, the ACLU opposed him on it. Still following their values at that point. I mean, I disagreed with them on that. But they were remaining true to themselves. And they got a stupid amount of fucking money. They broke just about every record they ever had in a very short amount of time. They usually get like 4 mil or so through a donation drive. They got 24 in several days. It was nuts. So they're going to keep doing this because, well, they keep getting money from these dumbasses. The problem is, the ACLU's not the ACLU anymore. We're talking about a group here. The ACLU defended literal, actual, honest-to-God, swastika flag-waving Nazis. Back in, I think it was the 70s. They wanted to do a march through a section of Chicago that housed a bunch of fucking Holocaust survivors, and the ACLU went, it's their right. They're not hurting you. They might be assholes. They might be hateful. They might be ungodly insensitive, but they have a right to do it. They fucking lost members in droves to that. But they stood for what they believed in. They said free speech. Well, those Nazis aren't hurting anybody by just marching down the street being assholes, so let them do it. That's how it works. It's fucking dumb. God, I don't even know. I don't even need to read the rest of this article here. I'm going to link it in the bottom so you guys want to, but it's just, it's so stupid. They made an insane amount of money and now they're just selling out. In the memo they released, their first part was talking about, well, you can't go incite violence. That's not free speech. And that's true. That's entirely true. Incitement to violence, actual criminal harassment, defamation and slander, those are the things that are not actually free speech. Those are illegal. And I agree with that, as does pretty much everybody. Then they go and kind of pull a 180, because remember, the ACLU did state that they are a group that is dedicated to defending the rights of people as laid down in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. But they said they're not going to defend you if you choose to carry. Okay? Because they said, well, weapons could chill a conversation and all that wonderful crap. Well, I'm sorry, I'm in America. I have the right to carry. I do have the right to carry a weapon. They could have phrased it better, okay? It's like, I understand on the one hand why you're going, well, we don't want to, people carrying guns in these debates. That's a little unnerving. Okay, I can kind of get it, but I'm a big supporter of concealed carry, okay? If a crazy
crackhead comes at you with a knife. Well, it'd be nice for you to have a gun, wouldn't it? So please, do that if you feel comfortable doing that. I personally do, which is why I'll be getting my concealed carry license, and I will be carrying a firearm with me wherever it's legal. Just because there's that tiny, minuscule 0.1% chance that I could get jumped by a crazy crackhead. Okay? It happens. And I'd like to have something on me to defend myself with. But when the ACLU says they're not going to do that, to defend anyone who decides to carry, well, that's ignoring the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is your right to bear arms. That's the point. Now, if they had phrased it differently, where it's along the lines of, you know, like what was going on in Charlottesville, where people were walking around with fucking clubs and shit. That wasn't... They were ready to roll. They were ready to fight in a more offensive capacity instead of just there for defensive purposes. That would be one thing, to say, oh, if you go, you know, people who carry weapons with the intent, going to a protest with intent to use them, instead of with the intent to defend themselves with them, you know, it's a defensive weapon, that would have been different. I wouldn't really have a complaint about that. That would make sense. But just the way they phrased it is... No. The fucking ACLU sold out. They're dead. They're fucking dead as an organization now. I can't trust them anymore. Okay, this isn't like a small fuck up. This isn't like something little where they're like, oh, okay, we're sorry, we you know, said some stupid shit at one point, we're sorry. No, you fucking took money from a bunch of people. That's nothing wrong with that. But then, when it comes to maintaining your values, instead of telling them, fuck off, we don't need your money, we're going to keep our values and stay the way we've been for the past 100 fucking years, no, you caved. You caved like a bitch. You caved like a tiny, wet cardboard-spined bitch because you're afraid of losing the money. Guess what? You're now a fucking money slave. You are a debt slave. You may not be in debt, but you are effectively a debt slave to them. They own you. So long as you think like that, they will own you. And now I don't trust you, so you're not going to get any money from me. I might have at one point, if you kept defending free speech the way you had in years past, I might have thrown some cash at you, but I sure as fuck won't now. I don't even care if you throw them all out at this point. You're going to have to work for several years for me to believe that you're not going to just do this again. I don't know what else to say. It's disgusting. And sad. But that's the times we live in. Organizations that used to have values cave like a bitch if you throw enough money at them.